October 7, 2014, from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. It was Game 4 of the NLDS between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. And on the mound for the Cardinals was Shelby Miller. Clayton Kershaw was on the mound for the Dodgers. And at the top of the first, Shelby Miller set down the Dodgers in order. He actually struck out the first two batters he saw, Gordon and Crawford. Then in the bottom of the first, Clayton Kershaw would strike out the side as he set down Carpenter, Grichuk, and Holliday. So after one, we already saw 5 strikeouts from these two pitchers, and the score remained 0-0 with no hits. Now in the top of the second, Matt Kemp would end up reaching on an infield single, but then Hanley Ramirez grounded into a double play. Andre Ethier would walk, but then Uribe would end up getting out. So now in the bottom of the second, Clayton Kershaw would end up walking Peralta, but then he would end up getting Adams into a double play and then striking out Molina. So after 2, it was still 0-0. So now in the top of the third, A.J. Ellis would lead off with the single, and then Kershaw would sacrifice him over to second. Gordon then lined out, and Crawford would strike out. So now we move to the bottom of the third, and Clayton Kershaw set down the Cardinals in order, and he actually struck out Shelby Miller to end the inning. So after 3, it was still 0-0. So now on the top of the fourth, Shelby Miller would end up getting Gonzales to ground out, as well as Kemp, and then Ramirez popped out, so he set down the side in order, and we moved to the bottom of the fourth. Carpenter flew out, but then Grichuk got a single, and then he ended up moving over to second on a wild pitch by Kershaw. So now Holliday came to the plate, and he ended up grounding out, but he moved Grichuk over to third, so he's now 90 feet away from scoring, but Peralta would strike out to end the inning. So after the 4, it was still knotted up at goose eggs. So now on the top of the 5th, Shelby Miller would strike out Andre Ethier as the first batter of the inning, and then after getting Uribe to pop out, he ended up walking Ellis, and then Kershaw ended up getting a single. So now we had 2 on, 2 out for Gordon, but he ended up grounding out. So that would bring us to the bottom of the 5th, and the first 2 batters went down, but then John Jay walked, but then Juan got out to end the inning. So after 5, it was still 0-0. So now in the top of the 6th, Carl Crawford led off with a single, and then Adrian Gonzales got a single and moved Crawford to third, so we had runners on the corners with no outs. And then Matt Kemp hit into a double play, but Carl Crawford came across home to score the first run of this game, as it was now 1-0 Dodgers over the Cardinals. Hanley Ramirez was then hit by a pitch, and Andre Ethier was walked, so now we had 2 runners on and 2 out, and Miller would come out the game as Manus would come in to relieve him, and then Uribe got a single, which would score Ramirez, and it was now 2-0 Dodgers. Ethier would end up getting picked off at third, and so we were heading to the bottom of the 6th, and the first batter was ended up being a pinch hitter as Cosmo came in to pinch hit for Manus, and he ended up striking out, as did Carpenter and Grichuk, as Kershaw set down the side in order as he picked up 3 strikeouts in the inning. And after 6, it was 2-0 Dodgers over the Cardinals. So now in the top of the 7th, Gonzales would come in to relieve Manus, who had been pinch hit for in the last inning, and he would end up getting the first 2 batters out, Ellis and Kershaw, but then he walked Gordon and then let up a single to Crawford, but then Gonzales grounded out, and we were headed to the bottom of the 7th. So Kershaw came out in the bottom of the 7th. He ended up letting up an infield single to Holliday, and then ended up letting up a single to Peralta. So now we had 2 runners on, and here comes Matt Adams, and hey, it's a home run for Adams, and the Cardinals take the 3-2 lead with a 3-run shot, as Clayton Kershaw was knocked out of the game, as he is yet to make it out of the 7th inning in his career in the postseason. So Baez would come in to pitch. He ended up getting Molina out, and then he ended up hitting John Jay, but he struck out Wong, and Tavares would come in to pinch hit for Gonzales, and he ended up popping out. So after 7, it was 3-2 as the Cardinals took the lead with 3-run shot in the bottom half of the inning by Matt Adams. So now in the top of the 8th, we had Neshek, who would come in to relieve Gonzales, and he ended up striking out Kemp and setting down the next 2 batters as he set down the Dodgers in order in the top half of the inning. So now in the bottom of the 8th, we had Baez still on the mound. He got the first 2 batters out. He actually struck out Grichuk, the second batter he faced, but then they brought League in to relieve him, and he got Holliday out. So the Cardinals were set down in order by 2 different pitchers. So after 8, it was 3-2 Cardinals over the Dodgers. The Dodgers now only had 3 outs left in this postseason if they did not tie up this game. Trevor Rosenthal came in to close this one out, and he ended up getting Uribe to ground out, but then he let up a walk to Ellis, and Yasiel Puig would come in to pinch run for Ellis. So now we had the tying run on first base, and a pinch hitter would end up coming to the plate. Turner pinch hit for League, and he would strike out. So now we had 2 outs and a runner on first base, and D. Gordon came to the plate representing the go-ahead run. He ended up hitting a single, so now we had 2 on, 2 out, as the go-ahead run was on first base. The tying run was in scoring position at second base, and Carl Crawford was at the plate, and he grounded into a fielder's choice, and this game came to a close as Trevor Rosenthal shut the door on the Dodgers, and the St. Louis Cardinals win 3-2 as they advance to the NLCS, where they will be facing the San Francisco Giants, who would win later on in the day. So in this game, Clayton Kershaw got the loss. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, and just 4 hits. He had 9 strikeouts and 2 walks in that home run, that 3-run shot to Matt Adams, as Clayton Kershaw once again fails to make it out of the 7th inning in a postseason game. Shelby Miller pitched 5 2/3 innings, only letting up 2 earned runs on 5 hits. He had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. He was not the pitcher of record, though. Gonzales ended up picking up the win. He had 1 inning of relief, and he did not let up any earned runs. And as I said, Trevor Rosenthal got the save as he came in the 9th to shut the door. And Matt Adams came up super clutch. He was 1 for 3 in this game. He had those 3 RBIs off of that 3-run shot. He was really the sole producer. They only had 4 hits in this game for the Cardinals, but that 4th hit was the clutch hit that really came up big, and that's what won this game. Grichuk, Holliday, and Peralta each had a hit as well. Peralta was actually 1 for 2 as he had a base on balls. And for the Dodgers, Crawford was 2 for 5. Gonzales was 1 for 4, as was D. Gordon, and so was Matt Kemp. And the lone, we had an RBI for Uribe. He was 1 for 4. That was the lone RBI. Of course, the other run was not from, no one got the credit for the RBI on that run. So, quite an exciting game here as the Cardinals win with the final score 3-2, and they advance to the next round, the NLCS, the National League Championship Series, where they will be placing the San Francisco Giants, and that will be on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe you can catch that on TBS.